Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave original. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. It is Foxworth Friday. Domonique Foxworth, what's going on?
Not much, man. Feeling good. How about you?
Hey, man, it's all right over here. It's turning autumnal. And I realized that I have lived in this city quite a while that I'm like, ooh, is that a little crisp in the air?
It feels good, right?
Yeah. Like I've never been that person. Now I'm like, if we can get a little orange in these trees.
I mean, I think now that I don't go to school, I feel like the fall, like there's a sweet spot in the fall that's just the best. Like
Yes.
the fall sucked when I went to school because it was like, all right, summer's over. It's the end of fun. But like now, as an adult, like summer's great. I mean, all the seasons have their thing, but as an adult, it's like fall when it get a little bit cold, you get into the 60s. It's nice.
Yeah. Summer, I don't know if it's because of the global warming or just me aging. Summer don't hit exactly like it used to. Like summer got a bunch of dope activities, man, but summer got a lot of that heat.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know how much of your summer you spend up there in Manhattan, but I love that city, but it's such a wonderful, walkable city. However, in summer, it's like 2 blocks I'm soaking, and it's not. Or you going to that funky ass subway.
See, that's the thing. The dilemma of summer for me on where to be is that you pay the price of the winter, and the summer really pays off in a lot of cool ways when it pays off. So I used to do like all my travel in the summer, but then I was like, wait a minute, I'm doing this wrong, right? So you can't really, for example, if you want to do like Southern Hemisphere travel. I mean, you could go during the summer to be winter somewhere else. It's not how I was raised, but I suppose you have the option. So, you kind of got to do that early. And now I'm trying to spend a little bit more time around here, but then your homies be bouncing around at all these different times and everything else. Like it's not, I think you just hit it, man. Summer meant something different when it meant what you didn't have to do, which was go to school.
And I think you and I, when you just said homies bouncing around, you and I probably have a couple sets of friends, which I imagine a lot of people do, where it's weird and it's my newer group of friends who don't have kids, who have adult kids and have like a good amount of money. Like it's a weird place to be when you text your homeboy and he just not there. And you're like, every time you text him, he like, nah, I'm here. I'm there. That just was never something that I had to consider. And there's a certain group of my friends, I know where they ass gonna be all the time. and they tell me when they're gonna be somewhere else. They're so excited. They've been telling me about it for months. And I'm like, I know that Johnny gonna be in Mexico in May. Because Johnny been telling me for a year he go to Mexico in May. But some of these people, especially in New York, I come to New York often and I text some of my New York friends who are like later in life friends who are doing interesting things. Like, hey, I'm in town. You want to grab dinner? I'm in Paris. What?
Yeah. The other thing I realized is that like I ain't got like a crew.
Yeah.
I have like lots of friends in different places, but no like crew. And crew become kind of important in New York because one thing you do on the weekends in the summer here is a very broad term called go upstate. Right? You go to some pretty place that's not far away, but that's a crew endeavor.
Yeah, that is definitely a crew endeavor. I mean, the crew, the adult crew is like, in many ways, it substitutes, especially if you don't have kids. It's like there's some things you can't go to. Like I went to Martha's Vineyard for the first time this year. You can't really do that alone. Like that's not a show up alone. You gotta, if you don't got family or kids or whatever, then you need a crew.
Yes. I'll go across the world by myself. Yeah. To the Catskills, I'd like to have a crew. Right? Like I'd like to do things that you do with crews, right? This is, I'd say, not just a person, right? But a crew. Because I also feel like you go to the places, just 2 people, damn, we gonna get tired of each other quick.
Do people still have like, I mean, maybe it's just me, but I think my groups are kind of like you, where it's like, some here, there, some there, whatever. But I guess most people probably do like stay in the area that they grew up with and they high school crew, still a crew. That's nice.
No. People in New York got crews, okay? Here's what I have concluded, though, about the crew up nature of New York, and it's a very, very important thing, which is I got here with just a little bit too much money.
Mhm.
Crews are we getting through
Yeah.
this together.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Right.
Like the crew is developed in part by necessity. We work together. We in here networking. We've been like I seen
Yeah.
you at a few of the same events because y'all all out here trying to do the same thing. I don't traffic in those spaces. Like at the point at which I got to this city, I wasn't living that life no more. Right. So I got a crew. My crew don't all like really live here though, right? Like we have the group chat dinner.
Yeah.
That's a crew.
That's our crew.
That's a crew with
Yeah.
4 people who live
Yeah.
in 3 different cities.
Yeah, and one person who lives in another continent, another
Correct.
person whose job takes them all over the place. I never know where none of y'all are. And then you like just pop up and go on a solo trip to fucking Reykjavik. Like
Yes.
I'm going to Vietnam tomorrow. Like what?
Yes.
Vietnam?
Yeah, it's wild times, man. It's wild times. Speaking of wild times, I'm gonna get us to the football. This just happens. Me and Domonique just have such a good time. We don't do this as often. So when we get together, we get reacquainted, and everybody else gets reacquainted with us. And I feel kind of like I talk about the Eagles a lot, but on one hand, I should talk about the Eagles a lot. Like people complain when you talk about the Cowboys too much because they're not good. But the Eagles are good, and we talk about them a lot because the fun is they're good, but we get to talk about them like they're not. Like, if we're being honest, it's much more fun to talk about a team that is not that good than it is to talk about a team that is good. There's just not nearly as much material. But a team with a really good record that does not really good things, buddy, that is the cash money spot. And when you're like me and you feel that way about the quarterback and the coach, you are rich with material.
I mean, it's the perfect lane too because people love to get mad. Like, there's one of two things I feel like people fall into these groups. If it's a local fan base, they need somebody to yell at. They're gonna watch you, retweet you, or whatever because you make them mad. If it's other people, I think they like to understand what's going on and feel smart. And so it's great if there's a 4-0 team, but I'm able to tell you what's wrong with them. So then when you go out, you're like, hey, I know you like them. However, they'll never throw the ball on first down. They think they're going to run like that. That is the sweet spot. And the Eagles, they giving it to us the same way the Chiefs gave it to us last year. It's just perfect. Close games that they shouldn't be close in. Oh, yeah. They feeding the beast.
But the difference is, and I had literally forgotten about this. Like, I don't think I've really talked about it. I think Deontay Lee, who we had on earlier this week, and for the people who have said it, don't you worry, he'll be back. I had kind of sort of forgotten about the epic collapse of 2023, where they started 10-1 and it all fell apart. And it fell apart in such a way that I know I felt this way. I know my buddy Nick felt this way. We thought it was impossible for them to bring Sirianni back. And then at the beginning of last year, Sirianni had the thing where he got into the argument with the fans. And I have a tweet that people love to break out where I'm like, look, y'all just going to wait before y'all fire him? Because you're going to fire him. And don't get me wrong. They're going to fire him. They just won a Super Bowl before they did. So now they out here, and you watch the film in ways I don't. I see the homie Dan Orlovsky make the point that all A.J. Brown out here doing is running goes and hitches.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it is. It seems to be an offense that you run when you don't think your Super Bowl MVP quarterback is actually that good. Like, people get mad at me for saying Jalen Hurts ain't that good. What you think about them? They around him every day, and they telling you that he ain't that good.
It does feel like it's funny too, because I just had this random thought, and just before I got on here, I just looked up time on the play clock before you snap the ball. Just because I was wondering, and I know it's an obscure thing to look up, but they're 31st in the league with 6.5 seconds on the clock on average before they snap the ball. And the only reason why I looked that up is because it feels like if you are playing in a game that you don't feel like you deserve to win, or you're better than your opponent, you're trying to milk the clock. I guess I was trying to figure out why they run the ball on first down so often when it's not working, and just get an idea for what they're trying to do. And it seems like when you have an ultra-talented team, we want high pace. More plays we play, the more chances we have to demonstrate that we're better than you guys. If you're in a close situation, or you feel like you're a weaker team, you have fewer plays. Like, then it increases the volatility of the situation. Like, if we only got 10 plays, we might win on 5. If we got 50 plays, we ain't gonna win on 25. So it was just weird to me to see that was also consistent with the way that they were playing. And I think you mentioned earlier they were like never again. I think they also looked at the reason why they were losing, and it was turnovers and it was interceptions from Jalen, and they were like never again. We're not going to do it unless we have to. And I know Dan pointed out the fades or the goes and hitches. They run a little bit of slants. They also don't run very much play action, which is nuts to me. When you are a team that is known for running the ball, and the play action that they do run, if you watch it, you'll see it's like it's not real play action. It's just like he kind of feints the ball in the direction out of shotgun and then throws it deep. It just there's so many effective plays out there that they could be running that they could steal from teams that they play against, like the Rams, that they just don't. And it doesn't make sense to me that they don't want to win games, like put teams away when they're obviously better than everybody.
Yeah, and this, you know, I think that as the year goes on, it will continue to look like it looks right now,
Mhm.
which is to say, it will become clearer and clearer that the best team in the NFC is the Detroit Lions. Right now, they look like the best. They out here playing like the best, and I
Mhm.
think it's just because they are the best. And I know that people still struggle to wrap their minds around that idea, but they out here looking like the best. However, they are never as terrifying as the Eagles are terrifying when the Eagles choose to terrify. And because the Eagles terrifying can be done with
Yeah.
pressure with 4,
Mm.
right? Like the idea that they can still just mob on you. Pressure with 4, and we have sharks back here. That part's not going to change.
Yeah. They've gotten weaker at the pressure with 4, but I mean, it's also a lot of it is injury related. Apparently Jalen Carter's has some sort of injury situation that's slowing him down. Nolan Smith's out of there, but they still do have. Uh, I mean, Jordan Davis, we saw a couple weeks ago where he kind of single handedly won that game. So like they have the talent there, but they kind of transition from where they had waves of pressure up front to now feeling like a more linebacker centric, a more secondary centric team. And that dude Quinyon Mitchell, like we don't talk about him enough. Like we get a lot of attention to the exciting whites and Zach Bond, but Quinyon out there, man, he's playing defense in a way. Maybe they'll call it a little closer because he's a little grabby, but he's locking people down, man, and it's making it easier for them to do so many other things because they aren't dominating up front on offense or defensive line the way that we kind of come to expect them to. And we still kind of give them that benefit of the doubt. But on offensive line in particular, like that's kind of the problem with the running game right now. They was pushing people back last year. They're not doing that now.
Well, let me ask you this too. Have we simply become more sophisticated as like fans and media, or is AJ Brown just really good at it? And what I'm saying is, his "give me the damn ball" speech sounds more selfless than anybody's "give me the ball" speech ever has sounded, right? Because like, we talked about this used to happen all the time. And the underrated part of it is just because we winning doesn't mean it's right, you know? And so for him, he's like, yeah, man, I just think we'd be a lot better if we got me the ball. And guess what? I think the exact same thing. Like when that is always a tricky situation when the solution is do the thing that's best for me. But that really is the solution, and nobody else is saying.
Yeah, I think that's a evolution of media, honestly. Some of the evolutions of media are better, some of them are worse. This is one that I think is better, is that we take people's complaints, not all of them, but some people's complaints, people with credibility, we take their complaints and then we go match it up with what we seeing. Like, and we all seeing this. And the funny thing is, AJ Brown is not the spearhead of this conversation. Oftentimes, it's the receiver who's the spearhead of it. And then we go back and look and like, hey, y'all winning, y'all fine. You just being selfish. AJ Brown is late. he's saying it after we've been saying it. Like, get him the ball. He's good. These matchups are in your favor. And so, yeah, I think it's easy when he's saying what we saying. He just said it after we said it, and he using the Bible. It always helps to use the Bible. People like that, man. People like that.
He did use the Bible and tried to say he was talking about something else. Well, what was you talking about?
And he used books last year. It's like, dude, they like, yeah, hey, I'm just reading, man. Just love to read. Self-help. I'm all about that. And also, Jesus.
Yo,
Now throw me the ball.
I appreciated him reading last year because it was a physical book on top of that.
Yeah.
I ain't even realized nobody his age was still getting down like that.
Nah, it was a prop, is what it was. Like it was a Kindle. We'd have thought he was looking at plays. He was like, "Let me bring this book out
Yeah.
here so y'all can see this."
But you know who is the big winner from AJ Brown's situation is Devontae Smith. Because something I will always remember is last year when AJ Brown had it was in the locker room where he was giving the quotes. Mike Silsky, the great Mike
Yep.
Silsky, columnist in
Yep.
Philadelphia, always made the point on that day. He was like, Devontae Smith was over there saying the exact same thing, right? So like AJ Brown does it, he gets to say it all. Then Devontae Smith, I wonder if he's over here like, I bet y'all would listen to me if I was taller. Like I don't know what it is, but he over there saying the exact same thing.
But I mean, to be fair to Devontae Smith, he ain't saying it in the same way. I'll never forget this. It was when I forgot who he was in a beef with. It might have been, I don't know, I shouldn't speculate, but AJ had some sort of on-field issue with a player, and it stuck with me that he responded to the video. It might have been CJ. No, he ended up playing with him. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Some DB that he was mad at. And the DB was talking all this trash online, and AJ put up a video that said, "I'm with the shits." I suspect that AJ Brown knows what he's doing when he's talking to the media. I do not think that AJ Brown uses indirect communication in the locker room. I don't suspect that he is quoting the Bible when people are pissing him off. I think that he's saying what he need to say to them in the building. And
Yes.
Devontae can't speak for him, but generally that's not his vibe. He seems like not that AJ's not a good guy, but Devontae's like, hey, I'm gonna go with it. I'm cool. AJ has told us he's with the shits.
Speaking of direct conversations imply being with the shits, we talked on Monday about Robert Saleh low-key threatening to kill Liam Coen. We are not.
Low-key?
I mean, look, we're not treating it like that's what he did. I will end your fucking life is like we treat death threats with a level of seriousness that we haven't treated this one with. Is all I'm saying. Like I don't know what the gap is between I will end your life and a death threat. Because apparently there's a space between the two.
No, there's no space between the two. I think that here's an example for you. There are certain places, certain rooms in your house that is okay to say and do certain things. If you said and did the things that you say and do to a person in that room on the street, you in trouble. Keep your hands to yourself and don't call me out my name.
Yes.
Unless, right? And that's how I feel about things that take place on the football field. They were still inside the white lines. Inside the white lines, you can say and do certain things.
But I'm going to make the point that the example that you're providing is undergirded by a notion of consent that clearly did not exist in this case because Liam Coen was trying so hard to run away.
He turned around and came back. But I think that the consent is implied. You don't show up to a football game and think your life not going to get threatened.
Oh, implied consent. That's a dangerous space.
Not on football it ain't. Not on football it ain't.
Football does not require enthusiasm with the consent. He told that man, I will end your life. And by the way, it doesn't sound like that's how he normally talks.
So, no, it's definitely not how he normally talks. But I've threatened a life or two on the football field. I didn't mean it. I've had my life threatened a couple times out there. And then afterwards, we was good.
These aren't players.
It don't matter. It don't matter.
I know what you're saying. I hear you. I hear you. Time and place, right? Time and place makes certain things possible. That is the obvious explanation for what it is. It's just so funny to me that as I look back on it, I was like, yo, Robert Saleh was really talking a big game and then came back the next day like it didn't happen. It was like when Pac-Man Jones lost his mind in that playoff game where all the crazy Bengals did crazy things. Mm-hmm. And then like 10 minutes after the game, he was like, oh, baby, I'm good.
So it's a wild place, man. Like I think it's not a normal workplace. We have labor issues that other people can understand and relate to, but there's some things about the workplace that are different. One of those things is when you leave your house in the morning, your life it's might get threatened. It might get threatened.
It's a workplace where fighting your coworkers is on the board.
It's a workplace that I think you would have appreciated.
Well, I will say this. You knowing me the way you know me and different things about me and my time in this business, yes. What you said to me very early in us working together has stuck with me forever is that what you missed about football was the accountability.
Loved it, man.
And I was like, oh, yeah, I totally 100% see that. We did an interview once with Rashad Mendenhall on HQ, and he said it really took him a long time. Sean King used to talk about this too, getting into media and realize maybe not everybody else is soft, right? Because all you do coming out of football is think that everybody else in the world is soft.
I mean, yeah, but there are. I don't want to sound like some manosphere podcaster guy, but there are some values to a place where, and it don't feel good to be the one who's getting accounted, but it's real, man. Like I can't say that it never hurt my feelings when a coach or a teammate was like, "Get it the fuck together." I didn't love it, but I do miss the times when I'm able to tell somebody, which I can't anymore. I can't directly tell somebody, get it the fuck together, which I could at one point. Or also, you didn't need to tell them.
Right.
They knew. It's man coverage right now, 3rd and 3. You got to stop this guy from catching the ball. If he catch it, we ain't got to talk about it. Accountability. Love it.
Well, the thing that also seems to be the case about the football accountability, and you tell me if I'm wrong here, but it sounds as though the vast majority of the times when people are giving you those words, they are correct.
Yeah.
Right? Like the thing that gets unwieldy, I think, in these other jobs is this motherfucker might be telling you anything. You're like, what are you talking about? That is not actually applied to what's going on here. It's very rare. It sounds like when somebody gives y'all one of those speeches in football that you're like, but wait a minute, brother, you got this all wrong.
You got to understand. No, what happened in that situation, there's no what had happened was, and again, there's some drawbacks to it, but overall, it's a place that I enjoyed being in because of how straightforward it was. And I consider myself to be pretty empathetic and compassionate person. When people fall short of my expectations in life, I'm willing to listen to the excuses or explanations and extend you some level of grace. That's growth. Because and balancing that with my kids it's a thing where it's like, look, okay, your computer ain't work. Fine. You lost your login or whatever. All right. You had practice and all this other stuff. Yeah, it was real hard. Did you get the assignment done on time? No, that's on you. You can tell me all excuses. I'm sorry. I love you. That sucks. It's happened to me before too. But we're going to have to figure out how we can fix this. But what we're not going to do is say, oh, no, it's not your fault. It's all his other fault. It's still your fault. It's still your fault. Whether you want to accept it or not, it's your fault. And if it ain't your fault, it don't matter. It's your problem. Right. You tell me all this shit, you still got a 0. You still get taxed some points on your grade. As you can tell, I had to come home and straighten some shit out recently. It stressed me out because I don't want to hear that shit, man. I don't.
You know what is interesting in hearing that? I feel like as we've talked about these last few years of Patrick Mahomes, the thing of those years of Mahomes that I've truly come to appreciate is, hey, man, Cam Newton was like this too. No excuses. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, well, I guess we just got to figure something else out. Hey, man, maybe I should have thrown it a little softer, and then his wide open ass would have caught the ball. And he says that without sounding passive aggressive. Like, look, this is who he is. I recognize that. I could be like 8 different people.
You saw Cameron Ward last weekend. We asked.
Oh my God. I can't believe how much the one that got me, and we played it, but he was like, ass. Like when he's just like, there's no need for us to be dishonest about what's going on here.
Right. Yeah, there's no need for me to tell you. And I'll go on to go in depth later on. We can talk about specific ass behavior and specific reasons why we ask. But first, the headline in big bold letters above the fold, We ass. We need to know it. We can't be unass until we address it back. We ass.
Right. And by the way, he did that while I think being a touch more dignified than people realize, or diplomatic is the word I'm looking for, because he did not give the most obvious answer to what the most ass part, like what the muscle of this ass is. I don't know if it's the muscle or the hole in this case, right? But we know, you know what? It's the hole because it's the stinkiest part of the team, which is
Agreed.
their coach stinks.
Yeah,
There we go.
yeah. And the thing is, their coach knows.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe it's not going to be Cameron Ward telling him, but he knows.
You know
Somebody's
what?
telling him.
That's exactly it. Everything else that's going on is the muscle. Everything else is the booty. But we talk about ass. We talk about the essence of it.
Oh, man.
We talk about the epicenter.
It is a defining trait. Like all that other stuff you can find elsewhere.
Right.
You can't find that.
No, right. This is like it's y'all's purpose, unfortunately. Time to take a break. More with Domonique in just a moment. But first, Ryan, you got some DraftKings picks for the people.
That's right. We're using DraftKings Pick 6. I like Ashton Gentry over 65.5 rushing yards against the Indianapolis Colts this Sunday. Also like George Pickens to have another big game over 69.5 receiving yards taking on the New York Jets. Football is back and shows your shot at big wins with DraftKings Pick 6, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats from breakout rookies to elite QBs. And here's the kickoff bonus. New DraftKings customers get $50 in bonus picks, which is a $5 entry on your first pick set. This season, play your player instincts. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code Bomani. That's code Bomani. Play just $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call, ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Domonique, you are a labor guy. You have worked for the National Basketball Players Association. You're past president of the NFL Players Association. Napheesa Collier sat down and gave a 4-minute statement at her postseason press conference that, I mean, anybody that's ever wanted to, she was kind of like Cam Ward if Cam Ward didn't raise his voice. And they were like, so, Cam Ward, what do you think about the commissioner of the WNBA? If we keep it at a buck, she ass.
Oh, I loved it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's not something I would have done. I think that there's fair reasons to criticize the way that she went about it, like the private conversations. Like I don't think that you can. I don't love sharing what happened in these private conversations, but sometimes you're gonna make some mistakes, and the bottom line got across. You need to find some ways to create leverage points where you can in CBA negotiations. Perpetuating and she's not creating this, but perpetuating, finding ways to put gas on the fire that the commissioner is unfair or incompetent or anything else. Like that works in negotiations. That tilts the energy, the public energy and the internal energy in your favor until they do something about it. And also just destabilize it, what's happening over there from a strategic standpoint. I'm not saying that this is all strategic. Some of this to me was also like she wanted to get this stuff off her chest. But the fact there's a written statement, she was prepared. She obviously was waiting until her exit to use it so it doesn't become like a storyline for her team going forward. But I loved it. We can discuss the individual things that she accused Kathy of, but it's just it's going to be a fight. And I think you and I were texting about this, and you made the point that's a good one, is it's the most important one. Y'all don't pay them enough.
Yo,
Y'all don't pay them enough to think that they won't shut it down.
She got her own league. Right?
Yeah.
They got their own other league that's
That's
going
where-
on up here.
That's where she said the conversations were being had, which was funny. Was like, yeah, this was at the Unrivaled, at the place that pays us more fairly. She said some crazy shit.
Right. Like what can the WNBA take away from Napheesa Collier? Other than a low-paying job, right? Or like a relatively low-paying job. But what is it that she got to be afraid, man? They're going to blackball me out of the WNBA. Because let me tell you something. You could blackball, allegedly, Colin Kaepernick out of the NFL, and everybody going to go out there and play football. That is not what is going to happen in this league. If you decided to do something retributive toward her on the base, no. That ain't, they gonna have, it ain't just gonna be about them t-shirts they press up and go out there and wear. Nah, dog, that ain't happening. I want to say this about the private conversation part. And for people who don't know exactly what Collier said, one thing she mentioned, well, first of all, one of the all-time great quotes, when she said, we have the best fans in the league, best fans in the world. We have the best athletes in the world. We have the worst leadership in the world. And she is referring to the commissioner as Kathy Engelbert is her name, over and over and over again. Like this was, there were no strays to be caught here. It was direct. And one thing she said was that Collier says that young players like Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, and Paige Beckers are making so much money for this league, but they receive so little money for their first 4 years in the league, right? Which I thought was a very interesting phrasing, because you could argue that after those 4 years, they'll probably still be underpaid. Yeah. But she kept it very specific, to the context of the first 4 years. And then says that the commissioner has told her that those women should drop to their knees and say thank you to her for the media deal that she negotiated, and the argument that the WNBA platform is what allows these women to then make their money off the court, which, number one, is wholly incorrect. I think we would all agree that the platform of college basketball is what built the stardom of those women. Like, I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong here, but I think that's very clear.
I think, yeah, that's absolutely obvious. But I think what Kathy is saying is once you leave college, then you can't get endorsements if you're not doing something. Like if you don't have an American league to play in, Nike or Under Armour or whoever is not going to pay you the money to be or State Farm to be a part of their product if you're playing overseas only in games that we don't see or necessarily care about.
Hey, brother, I hear you. Caitlin Clark can play for the Globetrotters or the Savannah Bananas. And don't you worry. There'd have been some place to put her. But anyway, those last two things where she said, where Napheesa Collier said that that's what the commissioner told her, those were in private conversations and she offered them in public. I would make the argument that when you say something like that in private, you know that ain't staying private for very long. Now, what Collier could have said was, I know that the commissioner believes, and then said the exact same things, right? Maybe it would be a similar violation of trust, but it lands differently. It goes over differently. But in the end, I don't think any of that matters.
Yeah.
Now, what I don't know is what this carries on and continues into, because some people got mad at me. Because during the All-Star festivities they had, when the Stud Buds were out there live streaming live, and Kathy came and kicked it with them, and somebody was making some criticism of the fact that this was not a good look for the league. And I was like, look, I don't really know about that. I just hope that everybody here understands that this woman is not your friend.
Yeah.
And I got hammered by a bunch of people who made the argument that these are grown women. They've gone this far. They know better, And I'm like, look, my existence in sports is just a little bit different. Domonique, I think that you would agree with me on this. It takes some of y'all boys a while before you realize this, because the commissioner dap you up, that he's not your friend. Matt Schaub, I don't know if you saw this, but he wrote his manifesto for wanting to be the president of the union, which is really interesting. But an important point he made was somebody from the PA should also be on stage to welcome you, not just into the league, but to welcome you into the union, because ultimately the commissioner is not your friend, right? this is something that people struggle with across the board. I was a little bit surprised that people were upset with me for making that statement. There is your proof if you didn't get it, though, right? So maybe everybody understood it already, but I feel like if it was already really understood like that, Napheesa Collier don't need to get out here and say this in front of the world. But this is the truth. That's not your friend. They're about to go into a labor negotiation that's going to be really hard for a lot of people to watch, because this league doesn't just sell itself as a league, it sells itself as a cause. It sells itself about something greater and, a lot of girl power, girl boss type stuff, right? And now you about to see that girl boss is going to try to break y'all, because capitalism don't believe in none of that shit that y'all are talking about right now, right? It's the same thing when people are like, we need black owners. They going to do the same shit these other people are out here doing. That's what's going to be a part of watching this, is going to be that part. And I loved hearing it from Collier, because I'm like, oh, okay, so you recognize it's a war going on outside. No one is safe.
So we need black owners so you just want another reason to be disappointed in them. I mean, first of all, what it requires to become an owner of a team is an extensive vetting process. And oftentimes they have already been minority owners on other teams. They work their way all the way through this process. Trust me, they are not, whoever becomes the owner of a team is not going to be the freedom fighter that you believe it should be.
They weed those out.
Yeah, so they weed those out, and also there's I be careful the way that I want to say this, but I get that there's a value to feeling like we're closer to an equitable society if there is representation. Right. I just hope that no one thinks that the representation is going to change the status quo. You just saying like, oh, maybe the path is a little clearer. That aside, I remember working at the NBA PA, and also after I left, I just kept saying about Adam Silver, because he's the nicest guy. He really is charismatic, and charismatic's the wrong word, but he comes across as very genuine. He's a kind guy. There were some issues that came up that made it very easy for him to put himself on the right side of it. He was the opposite of David Stern. He showed some respect to players in a way that he didn't before. And I was the whole time saying, like, look, when it come time to make some choices, I do not want us to have positioned him as the friendly owner or the friendly commissioner that cares about us, because then it makes it so much harder, particularly in the media, when we're trying to galvanize some support. Everyone's going to say, but Adam, he's a good guy. Like, yeah, he did a lot of good things, but right now he tried to cut our throat. And I think that's the point. And you made this point about their league being kind of a cause. Also, I think there's a ton of other context around talking to and talking about women's sports, that there's a defensiveness. It feels like if you're telling them, this ain't a good look, don't trust that she's going to look out for you, you would have said that to anybody and have said that across other sports. But I think it probably comes across as like, these women need some help.
Yeah, it wasn't like listen here, young ladies.
I know.
You need to know. It was more like, hey, young blood. Right?
Yeah, exactly. like, let me put you on game.
Let me put you on game. Because she's showing up at your little party and it's, oh, go Kathy, right? And it's like, no. Kathy, bad news. Napheesa Collier did not need to hear that from me. Napheesa Collier, so maybe I got it all the way wrong, right? Maybe they all Napheesa Collier. I could be the one that got it bad. But she sat there with a straight face and ran through that whole thing. I wouldn't know what question to ask after that. Like, what are we supposed to do? That's the kind of thing where you be in there like, yo, is this happening?
She answered all the questions that you could have asked. Right. She was like, she gotta go, because that would be my question. Is like, so what do you do next with her? What do you want? Like, I'll try to get her to determine what. She's like, nah, get her up out of there. Not so whether she was at the dance party or not, she know. And that's the thing is like, you run this risk that you don't run for the W, because of the point you made about the money that they make. Is there's enough money and there's enough success and opportunities for basketball players and a lot of football players also, that they never have to confront. That was the issue with quarterbacks. You never have to confront that you are one of us, not one of them. And quarterbacks, they don't find out until later. Like star quarterbacks don't find out until later that they treat you like you one of them, but you actually are one of us. And I think that the WNBA players don't have a hard time. Like, they can go dance with her, but when they pick up their check, they don't have a hard time being reminded that they don't really care about us. 9% is insane.
The
Madness.
salary cap for a whole team is $1.5 million.
Madness.
They play games in arenas, bruh.
Madness.
Like in arenas. They not out here playing like you don't get a little red ticket at mid-1.
It's madness.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and on top of it, it's just like the franchise values matter to me also a lot more than anything. And people are like, well, they aren't making money. And like, that's a fine thing. That's an investment. They don't own these teams. So like, yeah, I'm fine for not making money if I'm a co-founder of this particular startup. If I'm a consultant or some hired help, you're going to pay me the market rate.
Right.
Because I'm not going to be around to cash in on that stock that you guys going to be around to cash in on. So like, telling me that while you got $100 million franchise value is like, I don't give a shit how you manage your money.
Yeah, I mean, you can shut the whole thing down if you want.
Go right ahead.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's always on the board. You have the option of shutting this down, but clearly you don't want to shut this down because clearly there's a value that you derive. When Ballmer first bought the Clippers, I forget who it was that wrote the article about, and watch all the losses they're going to take just for the tax benefits that are provided by this. Like, come on, man, these people ain't out here because they eat money. The other part is, let's just say you double the salary from 1.5 to 3 million. That still feels really low. I still think that there is we don't have a great answer for what is fair, right? Or what is an appropriate wage for people participating in this league. I saw Monica was on First Take on Wednesday, and she made the point about how female basketball players no longer want to be treated like they are second class. But I'm not exactly sure what qualifies as first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I personally just don't have the answer for what exactly that is. Is it about money? Is it about the accommodations that are provided as a team? I know that what it is right now isn't going to work if for no other reason than respect is conferred upon people in this society through money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the bottom line, right? Forget about what the balance sheet says. Right. If you pay somebody $10 an hour, you know what they think of that person. And that's a big part of what we're dealing with here.
Absolutely. And I don't know, to your point, what exactly is fair. And it's impossible, because we've been trained to kind of tie athletes' income to a percentage of revenue, because that's how we've kind of always negotiated it. And so we can continue to use that, which may not be the best way to determine how valuable a player is. It's fine, but we'll continue to use that. I don't know what the exact right number is, but I'm going to need you motherfuckers to get in the neighborhood. 9%, Bomani, 9% of revenue. Like, I'm going to need you to get in the neighborhood. So,
by the way, right fast, on the revenue split, because revenue splits have been getting smaller and smaller and smaller over the years, I want to give a measure of perspective. When I was a kid, them splits was well over 50% on the sides of the players.
Yep.
Like, they were in the 65% range in some cases. I think the NBA at one point was 65% on the revenue split. And every year the pie gets bigger and the split gets smaller. Now, of course, this is a larger societal issue, which is corporate profits higher than ever, wages flat, right? The rich people keep getting more money. Everybody else's situation stays flat. Schaub in his manifesto also made this point about, the salary cap has gone up by whatever multiple, but the franchise values have gone up by 10.
Yep. And I think so. We use revenue split, but revenue is one of those terms that can mean a bunch of different things depending on how you define them. And so, we would have audits when I was at the basketball union to go figure out where all the money was. And every year they would have to give us some money because we found some way for them to try to take some revenue and say, oh no, this ain't basketball revenue, this is some other revenue. And the reason why you use revenue is because profits, you can say this cost that, whatever, you can change, you can play with the books, but you can always play with the books. So it's hard to figure out exactly what the right number is, but you can't really get around them. So I guess that's my major point, is like, I'm not going to come definitively on what people deserve or how much they should be paid, but I know what feels unfair, and that feels unfair.
I think that this is interesting as the idea of a labor, if it comes to the point of a work stoppage, which I think it probably will.
Yeah.
I think this is the rare case where the owners have more to lose from the work stoppage than the players do, because this is not, you're going to be missing your $1 million a week check, right? A whole lot of these women can just go over to Ben and Jerry's and scoop their way to the same money.
Yeah.
The way they fucking getting paid. You know what I mean? Like, in fact, they might not want to come back to work.
And I mean, if Unrivaled, like, the stars can go do stuff like that, like, and those are the people that they care about. Like, let's be real about this. Like, if Caitlin Clark held a one person strike, they would pay more attention than if there was 50% of the league, the bottom half of the league said they're not going to show up. So
Caitlin Clark barnstorming tour.
Cash. She could make money for everybody.
Right, because what the WNBA doesn't have is brand equity.
Exactly.
Nobody cares. Like, nobody cares about your teams.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody, like, there's no individual franchise that rings out in this country. Right. You lack the brand equity. Wherever Caitlin Clark go, that's where the circus gonna go. Right. Or like her as example, because I don't want to act like she's the only person. Right. But if they really wanted to do this up, Caitlin Clark and her squad versus Angel Reese and her squad.
Oh, yeah.
And before every game, they pretend like they shooting for teams, but in the end, all it turns into is Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham.
Iowa versus LSU, baby. Bring it back.
Bring it back, boy. Let me tell you something. They'll make all the money. In fact, the WNBA will change up their whole situation. They'll be like, yo, we got to come over and do approach.
The brand equity point is, they would make a ton of money if they just had the Angel Reese team just travel through the Midwest and play collection teams, and then bring Caitlin Clark all the major cities on the East Coast.
Right.
Like, we're just going to show up with your crew in major cities, East Coast.
Do it like full on wrestling, where like Caitlin Clark come out from the back. You know what I'm saying? Or like Angel Reese just sneak into the game, just come out like, whoa, is Angel Reese checking in? She wasn't even supposed to be here.
The brand equity point is a great one, because we've thought about or discussed having our draft as a players union have the draft telecast, our own separate draft telecast, where you wait for the draft to happen and all the players are at a union party, and then they do the whole charade because there's no reason that you have to be there. Once they call your name, we can have the charade at our place. And then we also like bounced around the idea some players wanted to like start a competing league, but the conversation always ends on there is brand equity. Like, these people are really Steelers fans. They're not going to show up for the Pittsburgh Stallions. Like, that don't get them excited. There's some value to that you can't lie about. And the WNBA can't say the same thing. Like, they might have had a better chance if all the women's teams were just the same name as the men's teams. Like, there might have been some brand equity there. But, like, don't nobody care about the Valkyrie?
Yo, people got really mad at Ethan Strauss for making that suggestion of making them all like the W Knicks, or the W Nets would probably be a better example, the W Hawks or whatever it was. I'm not exactly sure why people got so mad, but this is actually what happens overseas.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the worst for them. It's not attaching yourself to a better known brand is, I mean, look, man, the Boston Braves, which one was it? A lot of those baseball teams, like, that was a thing that you would have the same name, Giants and Giants in New York, for example, right? Like, the football Giants, the baseball Giants, like
college.
People attach themselves. This is how it goes. I want to switch gears a little bit before we get out of here. What you think about that boy Shedeur doing that Panama situation? And for those who don't know, the Browns put Joe Flacco on the bench. They're going to start Dillion Gabriel. I would like to remind you that I told you guys, Shedeur Sanders is going to get to start at some point because everybody else is terrible, but he's still the third string quarterback. And so he was asked about it, and he moved his lips and no words came out. And that is exactly what happened. He acted like he pantomimed talking to the media.
It would have been better if that was you just like a figure of speech, like when quarterbacks do
Right.
quarterback speak and essentially they're moving their lips but not actually saying anything. Like Shedeur should have done that. I don't know, man. Like
I mean, that was a great time for quarterback speech. Just gonna keep on chopping wood, baby.
yeah. Like I control what I can control. Like this is a message to me that I gotta be better. I know that my opportunity gonna come. I don't know, man. Like it's so many platitudes that you could have rolled out. Like I hate to be judgmental on these sorts of things. So like ultimately, it probably won't have a major effect. I don't give a damn about it, but it does speak to. I think it speaks to how he is in that building, which is again, I don't want to make too far of a leap, but it just like if you're unwilling to say in that moment, man, I love my teammates. We just try and get a win. I do whatever I do to get support. Like, I don't know, the bullshit, or even say no comment. Just like that is, I don't know. It just feels like it draws attention and it opens yourself up unnecessarily to some bullshit.
Well, let me ask this question. What conversations have Jimmy Haslam and Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry had such that I don't really be hearing nobody talking about firing them? You know what I mean? Like, I understand that Jimmy Haslam's the one that's got to eat this because a big
Right.
part of why they're here is they made one of the worst quarterback decisions of all time when they brought on nasty ass Deshaun Watson in and gave up the world and gave up all that money, right? That's part of how they ended up in the situation that they have now. They went and got Joe Flacco, which to me, knowing what we've known about this franchise since it came back to life in 1999, you did that because the fans like him. The fans enjoyed that year. So you knew you weren't going to be good. So you gave him a feel good. And then you tried to make some cheap plays underneath him to maybe get a quarterback. That's fine. I get all that. But that normally don't save nobody's job. Like, it is amazing. And I don't think any of this is necessarily Stefanski's fault. But if none of these young quarterbacks show that they got anything, then what are we saying here? Like, did he also not have to let the guy that couldn't quite get it right with Baker?
Yeah. I don't know. It's a good point because normally you don't stick around if you've been this bad for this long. They snuck into the playoffs. Was that 2 years ago? To your point, the Joe Flacco feel good. He threw back-to-back pick sixes, and then we wasn't feeling good no more. I think you could, if you're someone who's like, yeah, I don't want the results to taint the decision process. I want to trust the people that are doing. Like, you can make a great argument for Andrew Berry having done a good job, especially if you are going to take the Deshaun Watson decision off his jacket, which I think we all have already taken that off. Like, we put that on the owner. Like the roster that they've been able to continue to put together has been pretty good one. And so like I guess I get your point based on the results. Normally we move on from these guys, but based on the process, again, if we can get off the Deshaun Watson thing and say that's not on them, which is combined with moving on from Baker and having Baker play through injury and not accepting that there should be some discount rate on the way that we grade him. Like, that ain't on them, then they doing a good job.
I know, but it's amazing that they are. That's all I'm saying. Like, I want to know the conversation that everybody, like, how down does everybody around have to be on the Deshaun Watson decision that the people ain't clamoring in that way? Or maybe they are, because it's Cleveland and they ain't even got cookies at the DoubleTree, man. They be salty as hell all the time. I'm going to say that every time, just so everybody understands. They ain't got no, man, like Cleveland, the brief moment I was there was like Baltimore, just not as charming.
Baltimore got some charm, man.
It does. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. But what if you take the charm out?
Yeah, that's fair.
Charm City, my ass. Like y'all think that's what y'all. That's what we call Cleveland, charmless city.
That's when I had to defend Baltimore on the East Coast, I try to remind people that Baltimore's not an East Coast city. It's a Midwest city that happens to be on the East Coast. Like, it's a Rust Belt ass town, baby. So like, don't compare us to DC, Philly, and New York. Those are different types of cities. We are fancy Cleveland. We off the hook Pittsburgh. That's yeah. We are fly ass Detroit. Like
Yeah.
that's us, man. But we not a low budget DC because we're not going for that. Not even
No,
our
no.
aim.
The first time you said that, I was like, oh, okay. This makes sense. But with Shedeur, it's look, I'll tell you again, one day he's going to play. There's just no way around it because, like, Dillion Gabriel, man, I saw him out there in the game, and it looked like when they let there's a little homie going through it, and they let him get a touchdown at the spring game. That's how he looked out there.
And they put my man, he gonna make his first career start in Europe against Brian Flores' crazy ass defense.
Yo, he gonna be standing on his tippy toes looking at calculus.
That's right. I forgot he 5'10", right?
Yeah, and he's like the littlest left-hander.
I hope that they got some design QB runs in there, man. Just you got to, because that's the thing is there's no soft spot. So I agree that like trying to look for a bad team to start your quarterback is probably a bad idea. But there are teams that are good but kind of stagnant and stationary. You know, like we do what we do, we good. Brian Flores' team is good and confusing as shit.
It's gotta be fun to be somebody like Brian Flores and you have the opportunity to do this, right? Like, I've talked about this that year that Ohio State won the national championship in 2014. They lost one game that year,
Mhm.
and it was JT Barrett in his second start against a Bud Foster defense. And you knew, but I have watched with my own eyes from the sideline Bud Foster against somebody who had never done this before. And you could tell he was loving every minute of it. Like, watch what I do now. Watch what I do now. Right? He out there, and again, it's a little dude. Watch this.
Yeah, it's
Watch this.
tough. And from week to week, the film can only help you so much. Brian Flores' defense, because he recognizes it's a level of intelligence on defensive players that we don't quite extend to them, but it requires it, and it's the it's like the third, fourth order of it is whereas you're thinking this because I'm doing that. I know you're thinking this, so I'm gonna do that, which is based on what I did last week and the week prior to that. Like when you watch the Vikings defense from week to week to week, you recognize that he knows that you watching film. And he knows that his tell is this. So he knows that when you see this, you're gonna think that. Then he goes the next level. It's the chess shit that we appreciate about quarterbacks that we don't talk about defenders.
He's the one of those Belichick guys who's been able to take that,
Fair point. Yeah.
right? Like to be that super adaptable. You don't know what's coming. And I think it may be in part because
Yep.
don't tell nobody I said this, but maybe this is the level that he's supposed to be at, right? The supreme defensive coordinator where you just let him have the whole defense, like like a Vic Fangio type guy. Honestly, perhaps Bill Belichick without a Tom Brady.
Some might argue. Yeah, that's fair. Well, we got to get that man to Tom Brady there.
Yeah, just there we go. We'll just go get. You're right. We'll just go. We'll just go get him one of those right fast before I get out of here. I feel like we don't talk enough, and it's in part because like I got off that narcotic. But ain't nobody blacking it up quite like the Falcons with the black quarterback, the black head coach, the black general manager. You know, they trying to get it all done. Michael Penix, thank goodness, finally had him a game where I thought he looked like it was good because it was not. He had not been looking great up until that point. Now, granted, they played against a bad Washington because Jaden Daniels was not playing. But Drake London seemed like another receiver that's a little bit in jail down there.
Yeah. It's not the I mean, all those skill players, man. That's the funny thing is you see them play in individual plays from Bijan to London to Kyle Pitts, where you see a play and you're like, oh, he's ridiculous. Any team that he's on better showcase him and they should be good. But it never quite comes together for an extended period of time for any of them. It's funny that you pointed that out about them. Is it something that I'm aware of, but I don't feel about it the same way I feel like I would have a little while ago? Like I feel like it's just a couple years ago when the Ravens had an all-black quarterback room. That felt like a bigger deal. which is absurd considering that they have all black guys in the most important positions of leadership, except for Arthur Blank out there with a skinny mustache.
Arthur, my guy, man. Hey, look, some of this ties to Michael Vick, but there's the day before Arthur got there and the day after Arthur got there. There's a whole generation that got no idea how sorry the motherfuckers were for a lifetime, dog. A lifetime. And then finally, when it looked like they was going to break through to the other side, the man of the year got caught soliciting a prostitute on Biscayne Boulevard the night before the Super Bowl. And then had a ball through right over his head. Maybe because he was still thinking about what he didn't get. You know what I'm saying? He was still, his brain was still in jail. Or maybe his brain was still on the streets. I don't know.
That's just, can't imagine. I just can't imagine that cross. Like, we give a lot of people some measure of like grace because like you're dealing with some addiction or something. If that wasn't addiction, I don't know what it is, man. I don't even want to psychoanalyze it. It's just mind blowing to me. And I know you bring it up a lot. Don't stop bringing it up. It's like the cookies in Cleveland. Please,
can't do it,
never
man.
stop.
Okay, it's just such a ridiculous thing, right? Like you think it's ridiculous to go to the DoubleTree and they ain't got no cookies. Imagine getting caught the night before the Super Bowl, soliciting a prostitute, and you playing in the game.
Trying to get some cookies.
Because they'd have none at their hotel neither, huh? They'd have none at
the man of the year though.
The man of the year. The man of the year. Honestly, it's the man of the year part.
Yeah,
that really. Like, there's a whole lot of other people that if it would have been them, it wouldn't have been that big a deal. But it was the man of the year, right? Like, there was some cat that if it would have happened, he wouldn't even been ashamed. He'd just been like, "Yo, my bad, Joe." You know, the man of the year that shook up morale.
Oh, was it called the Walter Payton Man of the Year back there? They didn't name it. Oh yeah.
I hope not. I think Walter Payton. I think he was still alive,
okay.
So I don't think they had changed it up. But yeah, gotta be no. Actually, Walter Payton. Yes, he was still alive. Okay. I feel like I took it to a dark place, and that is my fault. And that is Domonique Foxworth. Check him out on the Domonique Foxworth Show, available where all fine podcasts are given away for free. My brother, I appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this 3 times a week. Ryan Brumley handles everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Remember, hit the voicemail line, 323-596-7767. It's your world, baby. Holla about whatever you want to holla about. 323-596-7767. Remember, follow The Right Time. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. And we'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.